Brokeback Mountain. All right, let's see what Josh is cooking up.
What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Yes, it is that time again. Duelist Nexus format is right on.
Do I think that Magnamut should be banned? Nah, that's too much. You could probably limit Magnamut, even maybe even limit Lebellion, but you like banning them. It's a little much. I mean, you could argue that Bestials are inherently bad for the game because they have like bodies. They're not just DD Crows, but like they do have Magnamut gives you another body too. But I don't know. Like that feels
the way, and we've been dealing with Kashtira for way too long. It is about that time we talk about a ban list again. And I have prepared a couple of cards we need to talk about and that I would think would improve the current format a lot. Because let's be real, the current format is very diverse, which is very good for a lot of people. A lot of the decks currently are actually quite alright and quite healthy. I think it's just everyone is fed up with Kashtira. So let's hop over to...
You know what's interesting, Jet? Is like... Even though we want a ban list and stuff, have you guys actually been looking at like the regionals, the regional level? I started following, I think it's Ready for Duel on Twitter, because I would go to I see their Facebook all the time, but I started following Ready for Duel. Dude, it really feels like, chat, everything can top. Like, these are the decks, chat, that have like topped the regionals. Regionals they're very real. Marincess, Unchained, VS versus Vanquish Soul, Chimera, Infernoble, Purely, Kashtira, Mathmech. Did I say Marincess? Marincess. I'm up to 9 decks, by the way, chat. I'm up to 9 decks. What else is top the regionals? Trying to think if I've seen any like Sprite. Josh watched literally every deck list that I know. I'm saying like there's so much Vanadium. So I think that's like 10. Vanadium is top, chat. There's a lot. Yeah, Sprite is not. I don't consider Sprite like a high meta deck right now. I like if someone said play Sprite or play Unchained, I think Unchained's like significantly better right now. But it's fun. It's astounding, chat, like how many decks are topping right now. Like everything feels like Ultra Geist is topped. So as much as everyone wants to, you know, shit on Dune, it's like technically everything has topped. Thank you for the raid, Dual Tainer Network. I appreciate that. A little small raid, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Hopefully your stream went well. Dual Tainer Network, thank you. It's also because every deck has to be pre-sighted to deal with cash, which isn't healthy in my opinion. Oh, hey, someone mentioned Ultra Guys. Yeah, I was talking about, so like the regional circuit kind of just started a couple of weeks ago, and I've been looking at like Ready to Duel because they'll just have like every deck list. It feels like at least a dozen decks right now, chat, can top. Plunder Patrol topped. It was like a Brave Plunder Patrol, but it feels like at least a dozen decks right now, chat, can top. And I haven't even mentioned like Dragon Link. So we'll see.
This little list of cards that I want to talk about. We start with the elephant in the room. These 5 cards, I think, are the ones that are most worthy of appearing on the ban list. It's a Rysard, Unicorn, Fenrir, Birth, and the Field Spell. I personally am of the opinion that Kashtira or Rysard should be banned. It's basically been part of 3 formats now. It started in Tearlament's format where it was a rogue deck, pretty much, but a good rogue deck at that. Then it was the best deck after for an entire format with triple Rysard. And then it was the best deck still with one Rysard and no Diablosis, right? So it's been part of 3 formats. It's been the best deck in 2 formats. I think it's time that a Rysard leaves the game. If that's what...
Okay, here's my follow-up to that. I can agree with a Rysard being banned, chat. However, I believe that if a Rysard is banned, I think every single other Kashtira card should go to 3. Right now, that would really just be Unicorn. I think it would get a little nutty if you brought back like Mind Hacker, because that they'd be able to summon that, right? But yeah, I feel like if someone can build a Kashtira deck, chat, without a Rise Heart and you just have everything, like, I say God bless them. If they're just like, hey, I'm ending on Fenrir, Unicorn, rip, like, that's fine, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think you should have anything else. Like, I don't think it should be like, all right, Fenrir to 1 and Birth to 1 and play. Like, just leave everything else. Like, the Dark Law is really the issue. Mind Hacker to 1. I think they'd still be, because, like, if you put Mind Hacker to 1, there might still be ways of Kashtira, like, decking you. I don't know. I'm not even saying they would deck you out, but if they got a Birth on field, they'd probably outgrind you, man. And don't forget, Kashtira chat can play Skill Drain, because it is just a bunch of big-ass monsters at the end of the day, even without their effects. They are just giant monsters, and if you have Birth, like, they basically have an infinite wave of giant monsters. If you kill them, they just come back as long as you have Birth. Fenrir at 3 is not okay. It's needed for B. Versus needs it. Tier needs it. Scareclaw needs it.
What they do, honestly, they can leave the rest alone. I
have no issues with... Actual genius. Actual genius. Boom. What did I just say? I said if you ban a Rise Heart, just put the rest of the deck at 3. Because now you're just playing a stun deck. And if you want to play Banish Fenrir deck, like, cool. That's fine. But this is the deck that like makes it so other decks like can't play the game. Like, that's fine. This list is already starting out really well. If you ban a Rise Heart, all the other cash cards, just keep them at 3. Now you just play... Even in the OCG, when they had all the cash hits, they still had a Rise. So, like, they were just playing a Rise Turbo.
Kashtira, if a Rise Heart is banned. Fenrir, I personally would say they can just leave it untouched. I can see a world where Fenrir is semi-limited. I'm fine with that, just as like an overall good card, right? So I could see them doing something like this. And honestly, this is something I would be very happy with. That would basically free us off the Kashtira curse. I think Sprite is not even that powerful right now. We've just been looking at a bunch of topping deck lists from the past weeks, and Sprite doesn't...
Yeah, I don't know. You know what's funny? I feel like Runic Sprite is probably the best way to play the deck. Because it's the only way that doesn't just lose to, like, what's being played. You're playing, like, Sprite now. If you don't have, like, was it Carrot, I think? One Book of Eclipse could cook your entire board. Man, this deck... I don't know, chat. There's like in some world I want to be like, yo, unban Elf, so Sprite can be like good again. But at the other time, if you unban Elf, you have to put like every Sprite card at 1. So like, yeah, maybe not. Elf is so crazy. I kind of miss Elf, chat. Am I the only one that miss? I miss reborning Toad. God damn, I can't believe that was a thing. That was so crazy, chat. Make Toad, negate Elf, bring back negate. Oh my god! If I get past my turn, I get like 2 more Toads. That shit was nuts. Elf, I hate Elf. Oh my god! And Elf didn't let you target the cards it pointed to. Sheesh! Elf was insane. I mean, I know Elf shouldn't come back, but Elf was insane.
Seem to be that popular. I still think there's some merit to hitting Sprite simply because if you hit the other decks, Sprite is going to be back, and Sprite is even older than Kashtira. Yes, the Elf hit hurts it a lot, but I mean, there's been a bunch of viable Sprite versions in the last couple of formats. So the one thing that I want to start off with is I would love to see them ban Ibli. I'm pretty sure this is like 50% copium, 50% could actually happen. This doesn't even have that much to do with Sprite. Sprite just happens to be the deck that abuses Ibli the most right now. It's just a card that is not fun whenever it appears.
I was the only person who was on double cross. I was like, double
just in case, I think they could hit one of these 3 cards down here. It's really hard to hit Sprite without touching any of the consistency cards. Yeah. Normally, I'm not a fan of consistency hits. But in the case of Sprite, it's like almost all of its cards are consistency cards. So what are you going to hit? Like, you could ban Gigantic, but that seems excessive. A lot of...
Yeah, if you ban Gigantic, then I don't really think Sprite works as like a deck anymore. Because you're literally just going Sprint, but then what are you even do? I feel like if you do Sprint, you're just going into Melfi stuff at that point, right? I would just say starter to 1. Yeah, I guess like start. So I don't know, force people to play double cross. I don't know. Does that hurt them that much? Because I guess at that point you won't draw it. But if you put if you put starter to one chat and you open with it, they'll just search smashers, right? Yeah, they'll still have a second target for Jet. So maybe you have to hit like 2 of these cards and then leave this at 3. Excuse me, 2. I think this is at 2. So yeah, maybe you just limit like these 2 cards. I don't know.
A lot of people are saying put starter to 1, put Jet to 1, or one of those 2. This depends on how you view it. Do you want to hit pure Sprite very hard? And do you want to leave some of the hybrid Sprite versions alone?
If they, hold on. Is that crazy, chat? If you ban starter, then there is no more open starter full combo, and you are forced to play not only double, like you're forced to play double cross and smash. I don't hate that. I actually don't hate that, because there is no more. Because like if you open, you guys know how you open like starter and then you get blue, then you get jet, and it's just like your full combo, and then you could just search another like starter. I don't actually hate the idea. Like, if you ban this, then there's just no more of that. Now you have to like actually hard draw these normal or these cards. This forces you to not just like search another starter to get your combo next turn, or to get a disruption during your opponent's turn, because they'll just starter for carrot or red. So like I don't in a vacuum this card is not ban worthy, but it does the job. Their grind is already so bad. Yeah, but I mean, like Sprite's grind was always going to be shitty without Elf. So like, you know, you're basically just playing for 2 turns anyways. Without Elf, you were never going to be a grindy deck.
Like Runic Life Twin or Runic for Hire Sprite, both of those decks only used 1 jet, 1 starter. Are you okay with those decks? Or do we want to hit every single Sprite deck? Because if we want to hit every single Sprite deck, we have to do this. I think it's arguable. You guys know I'm not biased. I would never be. I personally would think this would be fine if they also did a hit to the Runic engine in a different way. Is that something we could agree on? No. Okay. I mean, if you really want to hit Sprite as hard as possible, this is what you need. This is my ban list, so I'm doing this. And there's nothing you can do from stopping me. We will hit Runic, don't worry. For Pearly, I'm in a weird spot right now in my mind, because when Pearly first released, it was pretty much irrelevant. And then Pearly got the first wave of support with Sleepy Memory and Pearly Lily. It didn't get to really shine, right? Because it was immediately hit on a ban list right as the support came out. And it was never able to overcome Kashtira. And now we get another wave of Pearly support with the new E-Pearly Noir. Do we really want to hit Pearly right off the gate again? I don't agree with that. I personally don't like that. Especially...
Josh is kind of spitting right now, chat. Yeah, he's kind of spitting. He's kind of saying like Pearly shouldn't get hit, because it already got a hit like right after it got its support that made it playable. So are we really gonna do the same thing? Like, yeah, Josh kind of spitting right now.
Actually, I do not like hitting another memory spell. I think that is way too harsh on a deck that is way too new. Yes, the deck is good, but a deck is allowed to be good, in my opinion. I think the only hit that I would be happy with, genuinely, is a hit to one of those 2 cards, which is why I specifically included those 2 cards in this. I think limiting X Purely Noir would be...
it's like literally the win condition of the deck. Like, I do think 2 Noir on field is degenerate, because it's almost impossible to win. But I also am not opposed to them having 2 Noir in a duel. Because I feel like if they get to 2 Noir, I feel like the other person fucked up at some point. Like, them getting the first Noir is like understandable because they can summon that turn 0. But if you let them get a second Noir, like, you probably wasn't winning anyways.
Okay, you can still very well play purely with 1 Noir, but there's good reason why everyone plays 2. But it would not invalidate the deck. It would not make the deck less consistent. It would not completely kill the deck. Alternatively, you could also limit My Friend Pearly, because it's a good consistency booster to the deck, but you can search it, and by limiting it, you would make the deck slightly weaker and slightly less consistent, but still playable. I do not like hitting another quick play spell or main deck monster. My wish / my suggestions, if any Konami employee is watching, is limiting Noir. You don't leave Pearly untouched, but you don't completely murder it before it gets a chance to actually see play at competitive level. Labyrinth, decently represented in this format. It's won German nationals. It's won a couple other tournaments.
Will he do it? There's ways to make 2 Noir with Delicious. I gotta be honest. Everyone says like, oh, ban Erratic. I think that's just a given. I think Big Welcome needs to get hit, chat. And I'm wondering is... Because it just feels like so much grind with 3. How can you lose if you resolve Big Welcome 3 times? Like, how the fuck can you actually lose the game? You don't just get a monster and trigger all your furniture cards and the lovely. You also get a bounce during your opponent's turn. Like, how can you lose when you get all that disruption out of 1 card? Like, seriously. Just Ash, weird. Just use Ash. Yeah, because you always have Ash. Dude, I'm only playing Bell in my deck because of Labyrinth, by the way. Like, I'm literally only playing Bell for Labyrinth in Vanquish Soul. I just feel like if you resolve 3... If you resolve, like, multiple bigs and you lose, like, you fucked up badly. You did. You fucked up. After resolving 1, you should just win.
It's been sometimes very well represented in Top Cut, sometimes not so well represented in Top Cut. It's kind of 50-50 between you can just leave Labyrinth alone because we also just get more support for it later, or you could just maybe limit Big Welcome. My preferred approach, which is what we're going to do in this discussion, is we're just going to leave Labyrinth cards untouched, but we're going to hit some of the problematic normal spell cards later on down.
Okay, so he's basically saying I'm gonna hit Eradicator and D-Barrier, because if you don't hit D-Barrier 2, like, they will main deck that card. Like, they'll main deck D-Barrier and just pull it out of the deck. And then I guess at that point Labyrinth does have to rely on, you know, Terrors of the Overroot and stuff, and like those are good, but they're not like turn skippers, you know what I mean? Like, 1 resolved. If you main deck a D barrier chat against, like, you know, a fusion deck, you just literally win the game because you just keep cycling it. So we'll see.
On the line, okay? We're gonna have a little chat about Eradicator, Epidemic Virus, Dimensional Barrier, and Skill Drain a little bit later,
it's not
okay?
normal trap, but whatever.
I think that's a fair compromise. Dragon decks. Limit Magnamut is long overdue. I'm honestly surprised that that has not happened yet. It's completely obvious that Magnamut is an insane card and should be at 1, and we'll still see a lot of play at 1. I like it as a card. I'm a fan of Bystials, but this card is too strong. And Bystials are very, very oppressive when you're trying to play any deck that is light or dark and is revolving around the graveyard. And I think Druis Worm is kind of the same thing. I think 1 Magna, 1 Druis, and then also having access to Baldrake still gives you a very, very good access to Bystials. 1 Magna, 1 Druis is very close to the Master Duel ban list, but like Lubellion is also limited. I personally don't have an issue with Lubellion. I think Lubellion can stay at 3. The Bystial focus decks, I think it's okay to still have access to 4 Magnamoots, especially when you go first. And this also just happens to hit Dragon Link because they play 3 Magnamoots for very good reasons, right? I've been thinking about Dragon Link this morning when I made this list. I don't hate Dragon Link. I like playing Dragon Link. I don't hate playing against Dragon Link.
It feels like I actually find playing against Dragon Link incredibly fun and rewarding, chat. I mean, not when I don't open any hand traps, then it's like not so much. But there are decks that can push through Dragon's board with no hand trap. Like I think Rescue Ace and Unchained can like do it. Droller, but I'll show you guys a replay of my last 2 against Dragons.
Okay deck to exist, right? But it's been forever, dude. The deck's been around forever. I guess this is also subjective. It's kind of like, do you want to hit a deck that's not too powerful? Because I don't think it is too powerful.
No, I don't.
I can also understand the people that say the deck has been around for long enough. We should do something to it. The only 2 cards I could think of that would make sense to hit would maybe be you know, this feels too harsh to me. Even as I'm doing it, it feels too harsh to me. But this is one thing I could think of.
Hey, quick question, chat. You guys remember when Striker Dragon was at multiples? What was like the difference? Because I remember when this card went to 1, everyone's like, I was gonna kill Dragon Link. But like I don't actually remember like what's the difference between like multiple strikers and then like 1. Did they summon like multiple strikers in a turn or something? It's better for guard drag. Does he point? He doesn't point down. He points like to the left or something. Is that what it is, chat? Like multiple striker dragons makes it better for your arrows for the guard dragons? Okay, that because I'm just like, is there really like a difference between striker dragon at like 1 or 2 or something? Okay.
I think it. I think this is too harsh. I just wanted to mention it. If they really want to hit Dragon Link, they would need to do something like this. People in chat did not take this well. I don't think this would be that unreasonable. You guys are overreacting. Striker Dragon is an insane Yu-Gi-Oh card. I would not be surprised if this card would be banned, and I don't think anyone could actually complain about it. As a compromise, when I thought of Striker Dragon, I was like, a lot of people are going to freak out if they ban Striker Dragon. Maybe that's too much. I thought about hitting Quick Launch. Because Quick Launch, it's not only a consistency card, it's also just an amazing extender. Like, it's just a phenomenal card overall with very little drawback. I think Quick Launch could also be on the ban list. True. I think limiting Quick Launch would be okay. All the Dragon Link
I actually thought about that. So sometimes I thought about like just having like a troll move, and I was like, what if, chat, they unban Argopade? I don't know why that came to my head. I was like, that would just be funny, right? Just like, because no one ever thinks about it. We talked about LP forever, right? We were waiting for the LP ban forever. It's like, well, what if they just brought back Argopade though? That's the one that summons from the extra deck, right? That'd be kind of cool.
Honestly,
yeah, I was like, just do it for the fucking lols. Like hit Magnum up to 1 and then bring Argopane to 1, so they could just end on a free Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss as well. And when they have that, they can beat Dark Ruler, by the way, too, because especially with the if they play like the Dragon Maid traps and stuff, like they could beat it. Yeah.
You guys are lucky with the one Quick Launch. You know what I would do if this was?
I didn't even think about that. They would, they could summon Crimson Dragon. Wait, does that mean they could Calamity? Yeah, they could probably. Okay, never mind. Because they can figure out how to Calamity. We don't need more Calamity decks unless you just ban Calamity.
Banlist, I would do this. I would actually do this. I am serious about this. It feels too harsh, but I would do it. I would do it. You know what? I think it's funnier this way. I'm gonna leave it this way. I don't care. I'm doing it because there's gonna be insane amount of comments calling me slurs if I leave it like that. People are gonna skip to the end of the video just to see the end result, and they're gonna see Striker Dragon banned, and that's gonna force them to watch the entire video, right? That's why we're gonna do it. And ironically though, I don't think this would be unreasonable. All right, moving on. Branded. This is something that I don't think we need to discuss this. This is something we can just skip over real fast. All right, this should have happened a long time ago. I'm a big fan of a lot of branded cards, but there's one branded card that I am not a big fan of, and that card is Branded Fusion. Not because I don't think it's a good card, I just don't like how the entire identity of Branded just revolves around resolving.
Branded needs it? You mean Gimmick Puppet? I've never been Gimmick Puppet, chat. Like, I've never been Gimmick Puppet locked ever. And I played against like 2 of these at Philly, and I played against a couple of branded, on DB. But I've actually never had this card summoned against me, like, ever. So, I mean, with Expulsion ban, it's just like, do people still play this card? Like pre-Expulsion, I got it, but like now, like, are you even playing this card?
Branded Fusion. I would love to see people play more like, synchro branded bestial type of decks, but it really or like put other cards to work, because branded has a lot of phenomenal cards and a lot of ways to play it, but they are just all slightly inferior to activate Branded Fusion, and if your opponent doesn't have Ash, you just win the game. And I'm not a fan of that dynamic. One thing that you could do is semi-limit or limit Branded Fusion, which is honestly something that I think is probably...
I don't really understand semi-limit and Branded Fusion. It's already searchable from Aliber, right? And like all pure branded builds play multiple Aliber. So I don't really understand. And they can even dump it in they don't even have to search it. Can't they dump it in the graveyard and then add it back with like Retribution or something? So they can even they can get to it even if Aliber gets stopped. So I feel like you just need to make it so like they don't open with it. Like you just have to search it. And if you open with it, like, okay, more power to you.
Realistic. The reason why I'm not a fan of it is because this has happened already, right? This has happened in Master Duel. This has happened in the OCG. As it turns out, it doesn't really stop people from just playing branded the same way, right? People still play the same deck and just less consistent. You still have Aluber to search it, you still have opening to search it. So my idea, I would like to see what would happen if they banned branded fusion and just made the deck revolve and just function in a different way. I think it would be very interesting. I don't think it's gonna happen. Branded as it is right now would die.
Bro, that's too much. Rip Mirror Jade. I mean, you can still use Albaz to like contact with your opponent's shit to make Mirror Jade. It's just hard. Wow. You know what? You guys want to know something? This would actually be a bigger nerf to Chimera than it would be to Branded, ironically. Cause like Nesh has played Branded without Branded Fusion. You can't really play Chimera, chat, without the... I mean, you can, but you need like so much filler shit. You have to have like Fenrir and like triple cross out and like down all this other stuff to like even fill the deck up. Because this connects, you know, the Branded side. The one fusion gets you the Chimera side. That's interesting. I think this is a bridge too far.
You could play other versions of Branded. For now, I'll happily take a limited Branded.
Okay, that's fine.
I think something needs to happen about Branded. These next two candidates are something that I believe needs to be touched. Not because the synchro decks are way too powerful, or like Vanadium is way too strong,
I think it's legit.
I just don't like that this exists. The possibility of Crimson Dragon summoning out King Calamity is not something that I want around in the game. Even if it's only part of like the 5th best deck or 6th best deck or whatever. People are even arguing whether it's optimal to play it or not. That's not what it's about. It's not about whether it's the best deck in the game or whether it's the best version of the deck that plays this card. It's just that this card should not exist. Skipping your opponent's turn is not something that should be a thing, right? Even if it only happens 1 out of 20 matches or 1 out of 50 matches when you go to a tournament, it should never happen. They should just ban this card. There's still other very good targets with Crimson Dragon, and so Crimson Dragon could still be a problematic card. However, I don't think they would ban it so soon. But this card is something that I actually expect them to ban, and I would be very, very surprised and disappointed if they didn't. Runic cards obviously can remain untouched. We don't really have to talk about it. The deck has suffered way more than enough by semi-limiting Runic Fountain. The ability to not put a 3rd fountain into my decks is incredibly painful. I still think sometimes wake up at night in sweat because I cannot put a 2nd Runic Fountain into my deck. Okay, I'm joking. I think this should happen. I'm just trying to figure out in my head whether that's enough. You guys are obviously all gonna say no because you all hate Runic.
I'm gonna be honest, I would rather have Tip go to 2 than... Because like if your Fountain gets Cosmic, you're literally not playing Runic anymore. Like your whole Runic engine just dies. That's rough, chat. And the crazy thing is like they're still playing Runic Stun in the OCG, but they have 3 Card of Demise. And I'm wondering, like, is it that big of a difference, chat? Just Card of Demise? Put Hugin to 2? I don't even know if you need multiple Hugins, honestly. I mean, I guess if your first Hugin gets stopped, it's hard to get the Tip. Or, excuse me, it's hard to get the Fountain. But they'll probably just play Terraforming. If they're playing, like, a stun build. The reason Runic works in so many mashups is because the body for Hugin actually matters. And, like, Sprite and Furhire, they'll use the body for, like, XC summons and stuff. You read it wrong. Put Tip to 2 and Hugin to 1. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if Hugin to 1, like, does that much. I think just put like Tip to 2. F Runic, I hate that. I kind of like. I mean, I sold my Runic cards just because I thought they might get hit though.
Runic for no reason.
Or my CRs.
Because y'all are not Giga Chads and Runic enjoyers. I'll give you this, but I will not give you more than that. With the popularity of Cosmic Cyclone, I think one fountain is genuinely a very, very strong hit to the deck. I would have to really consider twice before I bring a Runic deck with one fountain. Like, one fountain is super, super risky. You also can't do the whole, like, activate fountain, activate the second fountain, Gary to bring back the first fountain. That is a play that you make very, very constantly, right? It's a very strong play to loop the fountain. Tip is at 3 in the OCG, right? There's only one fountain at Worlds, and no one played Runic except Dinkabui, because Dinkabui is a Giga Chat like I am and always plays Runic. But no one else brought Runic to the World Championships, okay? And that was with...
He got destroyed, by the way, chat. And I love Dinkabui, maybe my favorite player in the game, but he's the only one that took Runic the Worlds and got fucking destroyed. Like, I don't think Runic is very good right now. Because, like, at least, again, in the OCG, at least you have 3 card demise. But for Worlds, you only have 1. And you only have 1 fountain. So, like, Runic kind of, if anyone has Cosmic, just kind of sucks.
With only one tip, no one played it. Even though every other deck was, like, severely hit, there was no Kashtira, nothing. Still, there was no Runic enjoyers. I think this is even enough. Me giving you the semi-limit tip is even, like, generous of me, okay? We're not gonna elaborate further. We're also gonna ban all the cards that are in the plant deck.
Okay.
Or at least one of them. Okay, let's talk about Rika. In my mind, the Rika deck is very similar to what I said about the King Calamity. I do not think that the Rika deck is too powerful. Yes, it won the European Championship 2 years in a row, which is, I mean, that's a sign.
That's crazy.
But I don't think Rika as a whole, in terms of its win rate, is too oppressive. But the deck is a top meta contender, for sure. You can't argue with that. And the deck's main focus, when it goes first, is to win the game instantly. It's a pseudo FTK deck. I personally think that is not a very enjoyable thing to have in the game as like a top meta contender. Even if it is only the 3rd most, 4th most, 5th best deck, doesn't really matter. There should be something done about it. I actually don't hate the Rika deck. When I say Rika, I mean the Rika cards, right? Not the Sun Avalon cards. I think the toxic part of the deck is the Sun Avalon combo. The Rika cards...
This is what I just said! This is what I just said like 2 hours ago, chat. The Rika cards are fine. I got no problem playing with Rika. Like, the problem is the Sun Avalon cards. That's the problem. If you want to play Rika, cool. The problem, Rika has its own little gimmick and its own extra deck monsters and its own little traps and spells. Cool. The Sun Avalon cards, which get you the Rika cards, that's the problem. Like, no one actually likes playing with those. Or playing against those. Everyone's fine playing against Rika, just not Sun Avalon. I don't like my opponent summoning a vanilla monster and getting like 10 cards out of it, especially when they can summon it from the deck for 1 card and have like 8 ways to get to it.
I think are phenomenal design even. They have a lot of very unique interaction.
Yeah, Rika's
I think
cool.
It's a very fun,
Sun Avalon's
deck.
not.
What blows it out of proportion is the Sun Avalon combo that you just get alongside it, right? The fact that you just start with the freaking vanilla and you play for 10 minutes and you end up on full Sun Avalon plus full Rika combo plus an Omni Negate from Regulus and shit like that. It's just, that's not enjoyable, right? Yeah. So I think something needs to be done about the core Sun Avalon combo. Leave all the Rika cards alone. They're all fine, but do something about these cards.
But
people have been saying just limit the Dryas. Is it enough to limit one of those cards? Or do we just ban one and call it a day? Because I'm pretty sure one Jasmine is not enough. You can probably still come up with a crazy...
See, that's what I'm saying. Everyone who's saying, like, I don't think this is enough. Like, this card almost got banned in the OCG chat. I promise you guys. Like, what you can do with plant cards, I feel like there's some way they'll just they'll figure out how to just play with one of this. Like, just ban this. They won't figure out... that
combo. You could ban Jasmine. I'd be down for that. The thing is, we have to juggle the copium and reality here, right? Because let's be clear, banning any one of those cards would do it. Would they really go as far as banning one of those cards? And I am not sure.
See, I would have said no right before Super Heavy Samurai Scarecrow got banned, chat. If you would have asked me, like, oh, could they actually ban Dryas? I'd have been like, no. But then they hit Scarecrow, and I was like, oh, they actually not fun. When they didn't even limit, they banned it, brand new. Like, that's what makes me think, like, yeah, maybe
sure about
League One's were a mistake. See, and by the way, Who feels like, chat, that Konami backed themselves into a corner with Link 1s? Because they make some of these Link 1s for the big combo decks that just do so much. They're just ridiculous starters that get them so far, but then they also make ones like Trap Trick Sarah, where it's like, you can't even play this deck without this card. You know what I mean? Vanquish Soul's another one. Go ahead and ban Rock of Vanquisher. Vanquish Soul's literally unplayable. Vanquish Soul's unplayable without Rock. Trap Tricks are unplayable without Sarah. Like, some of the Link 1s, chat, the entire decks don't even work without, and they're not even comboed. It's like the decks don't, well, maybe Trap Tricks is a combo deck at this point, but like, some of the Link 1s just make the decks actually function. So yeah, maybe Link 1s were a mistake. I mean, I still think Magical Musketeer Max, like, deck doesn't really work without that card, especially going second. Ban Unexpected Die.
But the question is, if they don't ban one of those, what else do they do?
Deck is not
You know
good.
what? I'm just going to do this. Because this is the easiest way I can think of it. That's what I would do. That's why we're going to do it right now. And this is all I would do to touch the current meta decks. It's a lot of changes. Most likely not all of them are going to happen, but this is more like a discussion on what they should do rather than what they will definitely do. I think a decent portion of these hits are realistic, though. Let's talk about some very generically powerful cards that have been talked about a lot before, and we're going to say the same things that we've always been saying.
Okay.
Prosperity is a card that should absolutely be on the ban list. Like Magnamut, I expected this to happen a long time ago. This card just makes all kinds of decks way too...
So this is like, even though I could probably run pot in my deck, I don't feel like paying 40. This is like the only time, chat, where I won't buy a card, because like, I really just don't feel like buying it. Because I know in November it's getting reprinted. And pot's still like $40. And it's like, I don't really need it. You know what I mean? Is this the duality situation? Close of a pot that digs that people just won't stop. Man, this freaking antivirus, if it doesn't stop. Let's see. How much are you, Pot of Prosperity? I'd say it's similar, because Pot of Duality, chat. Once Pot of Duality like caught on, unless it just doesn't load. Okay, yeah. It's like 30, it's like $35. And again, it's getting, what is this? Chat, what is the pot collection? What the kilo is this? I never heard of this. This is coming out. Those are clay pot. Oh, is this a physical pot? Is this a card or is this a physical pot? Because it just says Pot of Prosperity, the pot collection. And I'm like, I don't, what is this? You had to order in May. You get both. So you get a physical pot and you get the actual card. Because it says ultra rare. And there is no ultra rare version of this card. It's just secret, right? And there is a Starlight. Yeah, there's a Starlight of this card too. Okay, fair enough.
Too consistent. It makes you able to find all your side deck cards way too consistent. You go second, you find the board breakers. You go first, you find the floodgates. You bricked, you find the consistency card. You get hand trapped, you find the extender. This card is just way too powerful. Talents, one of the most popular staples. I don't hate Talents enough to put it on the ban list.
I do.
Yeah, I don't know. It wouldn't feel like limiting or semi-limiting. It would change that much because people are playing.
I don't think you should ban Talents, but like, Talents is kind of stupid, chat. Like, it feels like, to me, the better your deck is, the better Triple Tactics Talents is. Like, real talk, I feel like Talents is a card that punishes you for like making the right plays or attempting to like go set. Like, why should I think it's okay to kind of like RNG, oh, he has the Called by the Grave, but like, why should I get my fucking hand ripped because I attempted to Ash Blossom you when I need to Ash Blossom literally every deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! That like when I go second? Like, why should you be able to look at my entire hand, rip my best card because I had the audacity to hand trap you? Like, you want to hand trap every deck, every game. So like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't get it. Am I the only one that feels that way, chat? Play Imperm. Dude, we already play Imperm. We already play Imperm. We play Imperm and we play other stuff. We play Droll, we play Ash. Like, how dare me have the audacity to use Effect Veiler on your Unicorn? How dare you Effect Veiler me? How dare you hand trap me and not just let me combo? Like, what? Like, we have to play hand traps, otherwise your opponent just makes their insane board. So I feel like Talents is, I don't know. I don't like Talents, to be honest. It undermines hand traps. Yeah, but the thing about Talents is I think it does it in such a toxic way, chat. I feel like it's okay if you use cross out or called by, because you basically just negate the hand trap, and then I can use others. But when you Talents me, you look at my entire hand and then rip the best card. Like, you look at my entire freaking hand. Play Lava Golem, Spearbow. I mean, I can't, like, decks need the normal summon, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what if I need the normal? I could play those cards in Eldritch because no normal. Like, what if you need the normal summon? You know what I mean? Like, I don't like Talents, chat. I don't like the idea of it.
Lot anyways.
Seriously. Just don't hand trap me, Buck.
This is what I propose to address some general issues with the format and also Labyrinth a little bit. This is like a side tackle to Labyrinth, but mainly just probably the two most
Talents doesn't have it. I mean, the downside is supposed to be that your opponent had to activate a monster effect in the main, but like that's why chat, when I play Vanquish Soul, I stopped thinking about like, oh, don't play in the talent. Like, I have to play in the Talents. The deck just always between Rock and the other effect, like, I'm always going to play in the town. So it's like, don't even worry. If they have it, they have it. You know what I mean? Dark Ruler, it's a win-win. Yeah, it's just, the way Yu-Gi-Oh! Is played, it's unrealistic to expect your opponent not to use a monster effect during a turn. So it's like, Talents is just, yeah. Right now, if you look at it conventionally, there really is no downside of Talents. There's supposed to be a downside, but the downside is just not how Yu-Gi-Oh! Is played anymore. Like, the only time you will maybe not have Talents be live is if you specifically play against a trap deck. Like, Labyrinth they'll use monster effects in the end phase, but like, even Labyrinth can still use Ash. Like, it has to be a super committed trap deck like Labyrinth or like Eldritch or Dinomorphia. You know what I mean?
Cards for going first in the format that ruin the most games after siding. I like the side deck as a.
Aren't you arguing why D-Bear? Yeah. I mean, and by the way, hold on. I talk about this in my video. Video's done. I just need to get a thumbnail made. The interesting thing about D-Barrier, chat, dimensional barrier, right? And I had kind of forgotten about this. So you guys, we all think of D-Barrier as a card that's like insane game winning now. Do y'all know how insane D-Barrier was when it actually came out in Invasion? It was literally a staple. That was when Paleozoic was coming out, chat. And then what happened after that? Raging Tempest, Zodiac. Like, it literally became a staple. Just call it C every game. Like, look at the spike here. This is right when the card comes out. Look at the very next format. Good Lord. Yeah. Look at the very next it was in every single deck could play it, and you didn't even have to side. You could just main deck it. Because if you weren't playing against Paleo, you were playing against Zoo. You just always call it C. Like, you could make an argument, and I do in my video, they could have banned this card, chat, after just one format. Like, after the Zoo format, they could have been like, yeah, this card's too oppressive. It's the best trap in the entire game. We're banning it. Because it was the best card. It was the best trap. I'm trying to think if Vanities was in that. I know IO was in that format, but I'm trying to think if Vanities was in there. It doesn't matter. It was better than Vanities in that format. I don't think it was, though.
But the fact that these days, so many games after siding.
Yes, and they force-fed us Master Rule 4 and made. Yeah, I talk about that too, because it's like I have to explain, like, well, what happened? What made Dimensional Barrier fall off a cliff? Master Rule 4 did. Master Rule 4 happened, and then we got Lynx, and it's like, oh, well, it doesn't work against Lynx, but just wait until they introduce more art. Wait until Master Rule 5, and you get all of these other decks back into the game, and then they're all based on one mechanic, like Kashtira and Ixie and Sword Soul with Synchro, etc. So then D-Barrier goes back to being broken.
are just decided by a card like
I think he's gonna limit all
a
the
card like D-Barrier, some other cards we're gonna talk about. It just defeats the purpose of the side deck. The side deck is supposed to be there so you can slightly adjust your deck for its problematic matchups, or take out a couple cards that are not as good in the matchup against cards that are better in the matchup. It's not there to just, oh, I know I'm going first, so I can cite this card that will always win me the game when I go first. I just hate that it is that these days. I just don't like that. I don't agree with it. These cards should be banned. Are they gonna ban freaking 15 cards in one ban list? 99% sure they're not gonna do that. I'm still gonna be here and say that they should do it because that's the truth. I'm not gonna hold back the truth only because they're not willing to ban this many cards, but they should. I'm just hoping that a subset of those cards gets hit eventually. The exact same thing is true, by the way, about Peekaboo, Anti-Spell, and Skill Drain. Probably D3.
At least leave me Skill Drain, Jesus. I'm not gonna lie, I have started hating Anti-Spell more, chat. When you play Vaporwave Soul and you have all these freaking spell cards, and I don't sign Cosmic, it's like, man, I really, really hope they don't have Anti-Spell. Oh, God. But at least leave me Skill Drain. That's my Floodgate buddy. That's my Floodgate destiny. Video went from good. I thought he was at least going to limit them. Jeez.
Most popular Floodgates right now. In order of magnitude, Anti-Spell by far the biggest problem. Skill Drain second, Peekaboo third, but all three incredibly busted. I would even be happy if they limited them or semi-limited them. I know it's not correct to limit those cards, so they draw them sometimes, not all the time. But dude, I'd rather play against one Skill Drain than 3 Skill Drains. I'd rather play against one Peekaboo than 3 Peekaboo, right? So I would just ban them, but if you're not willing to ban them, at least limit them or semi-limit them. The less, the better, right? Shifter and Droll and Lockbird
Here's the question. Because I think about the Floodgates, right? Is there any evidence in just speaking from the TCG chat that Konami is going to hit these cards? I actually think not only is there not, but I feel like based on the side sets chat, I think that there's like they're not even thinking about it. Cause hold on, like look at Wild Survivors, CR Peekaboo. I forget what other set, but like I've got CRs of this card. I have CR Anti-Spells. There's CR Rivalry. Like they're literally printing these cards in max rarity. Why would they do that if they're gonna ban them? Why would you do that even if you're going to limit these cards? Like I just don't think they're even interested. Again, just in the TCG. I understand like in the OCG and Master Duel they're all like limited, but like I don't think they're even thinking about it, chat. I just don't think it's gonna happen. Only Anti-Spell. I don't think Anti-Spell is getting hit. Oh, sorry.
Does it be Ascension, maybe Imperm? Skill Drain?
Well, there you go.
Fuck you, Cap.
Oh!
It's all your fucking fault, you dumb sack of shit.
What the? What? Hold up.
Does it be Ascension, maybe Imperm? Skill Drain? Fuck you, Cap. It's all your fucking fault, you dumb sack of shit.
What did I even do? I wasn't even... What? That's not... Chat, that's not me. That's not me dueling him, by the way. I'm not even in that duel. Like, what did I do? Droll and Shifter are toxic as hell. That's Caprick, Hovaid, you fat... Okay.
The other two cards that I want to talk about, they are incredibly popular right now. I personally think that Droll and Lockbird will not get hit. Honestly, that's okay. Hear me out. I'm okay with Droll and Lockbird staying at 3. I don't like the card, but I think Droll and Lockbird is more like a symptom than the actual problem. The formats where people play Droll and Lockbird, it's usually only because some other decks do some toxic shit. Do you get what I mean? Yes, the card is stupid and it's a lingering floodgate, but it's more so like in healthy formats, people don't even look at Droll. And that's why I think it's okay for Droll to just be unlimited. Shifter, on the other hand, the reason why I don't like Shifter is because Shifter has so many more issues than Droll. The main problem is that everyone is playing Droll in this format. So it's like reasonable to prepare for Droll. Shifter is only in 1 or 2 decks, so not everyone is preparing for Shifter, you're not automatically not playing a graveyard deck because of Shifter. You're not, So I think Shifter should also be somewhere on the ban list. Are they going to ban it? Probably not, but I'm happier with 1 or 2 Shifter than I am with 3.
One Shifter? Like, that's terrible. Because, like, if Shifter's at 1, then you're just asking for it to be a dead card. Now, I feel like with 1 Shifter is just, like, what? Now, I would feel so mad if my opponent drew the 1 Shifter. Would I play it in Versus? At 1, yeah, probably. Because if it's dead, at least it's a dark. Yeah, I feel like that's the whole, like, Maxi at 1. Maxi at 1, you just feel like, you feel super, super fucking sacked when Maxi's at 1. Good, stop playing. No, because that just makes it worse when it comes up, though. Because if Shifter's at 1, why would Fluanderies not play it? Like, I'm playing it at 1 because, like, the downside, I draw it late in the game, but, like, that one game at regionals where I opened with it, like, all right, cool, I won the game. You know what I mean? Like, I'd still play it and, like, flew under.
Something I noticed when playing Master Duel Worlds, by the way, and preparing for Master Duel Worlds, I normally am never a fan of putting cards like Skill Drain, Tikaboo, Anti-Spell Shifter at 1 or 2. Because in my opinion, these cards should either be at 3 or at 0 because a card is either okay or not okay, right? That is the logic.
Leave them at 3.
Playing Master Duel, it turns out it's still way more fun to play against 2 Shifter than 3. So technically, yes, the card should be banned, but less is better.
What's up, Fox?
So if they don't want to ban it, at least do something about it. Let's talk about some cards that are currently...
Okay, I'll say this, and I'm not a fan of Semi. I could stomach 2 Shifters. I could stomach 2 Shifters. That's what the OCG has, I think, chat. I could stomach that, because, like, you're still going to see it a good amount of times. It's just, like, we're just going to limit... Like, I just don't have a problem with Dimensional Shifter. I just don't. Maybe it's because I don't play big combo decks. Like, I just don't have a problem with Shifter. At best, I play control decks.
On the ban list that I think could come
I don't think Jerome's gonna hit it either. I don't think Jerome's gonna hit it. I think it's much more likely that stuff like Calamity, Eradicate. If I had to bet money, chat, I had to bet my life, and you gave me 3 bans: Arise Heart, Eradicator, Calamity. And I feel least confident about Calamity because you could argue Cap that won't become a problem for a while, but it's like, the TG deck could summon Calamity. But Arise Art and Eradicator would be my most confident bans. Those would be the most confident that I have in bans. Would be Eradicator and Arise Art.
Orchist Harp Horror is the perfect card to limit.
Oh, Shifter's in the 20th anniversary? Cool. I didn't know that.
I've been saying that in some past discussions.
Put this fucking card to 3. This card sucks.
I have no idea why this card is still
let's put it to
banned.
3.
I have also no idea why Gazelle is still limited. If there's ever a point in time where people are willing to take out their Salamangreat decks again and play with the deck, it's now. Right now. We just got good Salamangreat support. And if this card is at 2 or 3, people will actually consider playing it. If Gazelle goes back to 2 or 3, you will catch me here on stream playing Salamangreat like the day after the ban list. Literally, I'm trying it. If they don't want to bring it back to 3 immediately, I'd even be happy with 2. Hey, look, you'll notice I'm willing to compromise today. Hey, I'm not putting the floodgates in the ban section. I'm not putting Gazelle at 3. I'm willing to go for compromises, okay? I'm compromising. Give me 2. I'm happy with 2.
Just Nib.
I'll take what I can get. They should unban Pankratops. There's no way I'm the only one thinking that, right? Please tell me I'm not the only one that wants to be Pankratops. People will literally be like,
unban Pank. I don't know, man. Hold on. I don't know. Because, like, Pank's not that good against, like, big combo chat. But if you play against, like, control decks, Pank does so much. It really does. And, like, when you go second, it's like no downside with the card. Pank said, no, it doesn't. It does not. I don't even think summoning Pank is a hard once per turn. I think you can summon multiple Panks, can you? I think the effect of Pank is a hard once per turn. Let me see Pank. Can you summon multiple Panks in a turn? I think Pank is being very underrated. Maybe because we've all gotten used to Fenrir, but, like, Pank is still nuts. You can only use this effect. Yeah, you can summon as many Panks as you want. You could just only pop once. Pank makes going second viable. You mean blinding second? I mean, you can go second now, but like blinding second, you mean? Oh, I'm trolling. It says right here you can only, yeah, I'm trolling. It says you can only, okay, so Pank is, okay, maybe. Yeah. I still think this card is insane, though. Like, I think people have forgotten how strong Pank is because you don't see it very often.
Yo, don't touch my skill drain. I need to side in my skill drain when I go first so I have a chance. And then have a problem with people siding triple Pankratops for going second. You are insane. People are literally throwing evenly Dark Ruler into their decks when they go second, and you have an issue with Pankratops. There's no shot you guys are real people. I can also be trusted with the Dragon Rulers. They brought back some amount of Dragon Rulers already. They didn't do shit. 2, yeah. I want all of them. You gave us back Spellbook of Judgment. It didn't do shit. It's not 2013 anymore. Give me back the Dragon.
I agree with this too. This whole hysteria over Redox has always been overblown. People say it's just too Therio. Everyone says the same. Redox is broken. Like, no, it's not. No, it's not. Every deck has a Monster Reborn. I think you could put them all at 3 and like, I don't know. You're probably just playing shitty Kashtira at that point. Reborn effects are bad. I mean, it's just like Destiny Draw. Those effects used to be good, 15 years ago. And now, like, for some reason, they're just not that good. You know what I mean? Because every deck just has one. They could just ban it again if they do anything, like Cyberstein. I just don't see them being that good. Like, maybe the coolest thing to come out of it is you'd be like summoning Light and Darkness Dragon again. That'd be cool. Is that a good inboard chat? Light and Darkness Dragon pass? Ironically, it kind of is. I don't know. In a format where everyone plays book, probably not. But yeah, I'm wondering, is Light and Darkness Dragon a good import? Unbanned title Atlantean Dragoons is an FTK. Yeah,
I can be trusted with all of them. No one is gonna use them for like stupid stuff. You're going Enchantress is what you're saying. Oh my god, yeah, you're gonna go Tidal to pitch Enchantress. Oh yes, Tidal and another water monster to pitch Enchantress is gonna freaking break the game.
I mean, what does that do? So like, okay, Tidal, another water monster, send Enchantress. Now you have Brave combo, which you could already do with a Foolish Burial or just by drawing like one of 6 cards. Like, what does that do? You summon back Tidal, I guess, by banishing. I think you need another monster, but like, what does that do? You're doing all of that just to get to Adventure Engine, which you already have like 7 ways to get to anyways. That just seems like a lot of work.
Where you can already play freaking 7 copies.
What if Eclipse Wyvern gets unbanned? That's an interesting one. So like, okay, I think if you banned if you had all the Dragon Rulers at 3 and Eclipse Wyvern, then it could, hold on, I actually don't know what Eclipse Wyvern's full effect is off the top of my head. Then it could get kind of nutty, Chad. Once you start talking about like bringing back Eclipse Wyvern and like all this other stuff, but like the reason that dragons have so many cards banned is because they all kind of work together, but the Dragon Rulers wouldn't necessarily work with those cards. And keep in mind, like, cards like this got banned when, what number is each at? 98? Dark Matter Dragon was legal? That card was nuts. If this card is sent to the graveyard, banish 1 level 7 or higher light or dark dragon monster from your deck. If this card is banished from the graveyard. Oh, never mind. They would play this. Yeah, they could play this card. Current Dragons chat, it's level 4. I mean, this could theoretically be their normal summon, or even if they drew it, yeah, they would just discard this. Yeah, they'd play this card for sure, because like it's a chaos card, so it's light and dark, so it works with like chaos space, right? They could discard it for chaos space or ravine. They banish it with let's see, hold on. If this card is sent to the graveyard, banish a level 7 or higher light or dark dragon monster. So Levy They could use Levy. They could use Lubellion. Is there another one, chat? I guess maybe the Chaos Armageddon. If you run that, that's 3 cards already. I think getting a free Levy is kind of nice. Like, it sounds kind of good. And then if they banish it, like, they're always going to banish it because you're playing Bestials. So, like, they would 100% play this card. And, like, if you were playing a current Dragon Link build, I'm not saying they play multiples, but they would 100% play this card if it was what's it called. Also, again, if you normal summon this, go for Striker Dragon, you know, get a search at some point, Bestial, like, or send a Bestial, banish this, get Lubellion to your hand, or get Levy. Yeah, this card would be kind of nuts. So, like, I don't think we can unban this card. This card's a little too good for right now. If it was like, if this card was not a Chaos card, chat, if it was like Earth Dragons or something, like, okay, then it would suck. But the fact that, like, Dragons is a Chaos deck now, like, they could use this quite easily. Cappy was a what is Cappy? Is that a new emote you guys added? Yeah, is that a new, what's it called? Now I wanted them. Nah, it's too, again, just if you look at regular plain Jane Dragon Link right now, chat, they could get Lubellion off of this, or they could get Chaos